Hi everyone, my name is Andrew Stanley and today we are going to learn principle of computing. Our topic for today is called the principle of computing. Now before we will explain this definition on the board, we need to learn what a computer is. We need to know the definition of computer. Everyone have idea about definition of computer, but in case you want to know more details on the explanation, don't forget in your own definition you can put IPO in your definition. No matter what your definition of computer, you have to indicate input, processing and output. Input, processing and output in your definition of computer. You must give this keyword. Now, before we explain this, let's learn definition of computing. Over here we have definition of computing. Now before I will go details to this explanation, I need to explain something to you people. Don't forget that at the end of this lesson, I'm going to ask 2 questions, and if you can explain the question, give me valid answer to those questions, I promise to give you something as a token of appreciation. Now, in computer, if you are asked to touch computer, don't touch only the monitor, because this monitor is not computer itself, it is called part of computer. And if you are asked to touch computer, do not touch the mouse only, because the mouse is part of computer. If you are asked to touch computer, please do not touch the keyboard only, because the keyboard is a part of computer, not computer itself. And if you are asked to touch computer, do not touch the system unit only, because the system unit is also a part of computer. It's not computer itself. So if you are asked to touch computer now, you have to touch everything together. That makes what? It's a computer system. For instance, if I'm asked to touch my body, I will not touch my head only. If I'm asked to touch my body, I will not touch my hand only. If I'm asked to touch my body, I will not touch my leg only. And what if I'm asked to touch my body? I will touch all parts of my body together, because we form a system configuration. I think you understand this. Now let's move on to the definition of computer. I said it earlier on that you have your own definition of computer. You can join it with this definition of computer. Some can say computer is a machine that input data, store data, process data and give out information. You are right. Since I'm saying these 3 keywords, I'm okay by that. Another person can say computer is a machine that input data, process data, give out information. You're also right. Nobody is perfect. But you can also add your definition with my definition. And if you have your definition, you can drop it in my comment box. I can also learn from you. You are information age. Now, my own definition here is a computer is a machine or electronic device that have the ability of accepting data as inputs in a prescribed format, process the data with the help of manipulation software in order to generate desired or accurate results known as output or information. Let me explain this definition in detail. We say a computer is a machine. You all know what a machine is. Machine is anything that makes our job easier and faster. And since computer make our job easier and faster, definitely a computer is a machine. Or you can say a computer is an electronic devices that makes use of electricity. Those devices like equipment connected together to function, that have the ability of accepting data. Computer have the capability to receive or collect unprocessed information, because this data you are seeing is called unprocessed information. Let me explain this very well. When we talk about data, we are talking about raw facts or figure that we intend to send to the computer system in order to get results. If I ask you 2 plus 2, that 2 plus 2 as I mentioned is the data. In computer now, your notes, I believe some people are writing or jotting down my lesson. That notes you are writing currently is called personal information to you for you to read for future purpose. But in computer, that notes you are writing now is not information in computer. It is called data. Why do we call it data? Because it has not been typed. Anything that you have not typed inside the computer system becomes data. They are raw facts. They are unprocessed information. It is when you start typing those data, those things you are writing now, when you start typing it, it will display on the screen of your monitor. At that moment, it has become information. It has become information from data to information now. But that information you are seeing on the screen of your monitor, it is called soft copy information. The soft copy. The soft copy are those results that is generated on the screen of your monitor that you can still correct or delete. That is soft copy. But it's when you print it out on paper, it becomes hard copy. So if somebody asks you differentiate between soft copy and hard copy, you will say soft copy is the one on the screen of your monitor, while the hard copy is the one on paper or printed paper. Now I've explained data also. We have different types of data. When I'm talking about data, I'm talking about alphabetical data. We have different types of data. We have the alphabetical data, which is your A to Z. They are called alphabetical data. Okay, we have numerical data, which is your 0 to 9 numerical data. We also have alphanumeric data, which is the combination of alphabet and numbers. Alphanumeric data is your combination of numbers and alphabet. Then we have special data, which is your asterisk, comma, minus, plus, greater than, less than. These are examples of data. The first one is alphabetical data. When I'm talking about an example of alphabetical data is my name, Stanley, because it consists of all alphabets. Now, the second one is called the numerical data, which is 0 to 9. Example of numerical data we have 2022. The next one we have the combination of numbers and alphabets, which is what? 7 to April 2022. That's the example of alphabetical data. Then this is symbolic or special data. Now I've explained data, but don't forget that data is meaningless. It doesn't make sense. This data you are seeing in computer, it is not organized. This data you are seeing in computer, it is what? It depends. It is independent. It does not depend on information. It stands alone. But don't forget that it is what? Meaningless, and it's unprocessed information. Information is a processed data. Information is meaningful. Data is meaningless. Information is organized. Data is unorganized. So there's the difference between information and data. Without data, you can't get information, but you can get data without information. That's why I say information is independent, while data is depending on, while information is depending on data. I've explained this now. Let's move on. As input is the act or way of sending data and signal to the computer. If I'm eating rice, what am I doing? I'm inputting food inside my mouth. But that process is called input. Forget about the spoon I'm using. If I'm eating eba, what will I use? I'll use my hand. My hand is called what? Input device. But what I'm doing is what? I'm inputting. So the difference between input and input device is that input is just a way of sending data and signal to the computer, while input device, they are the equipment or tools that helps users to send data and signal to the computer. Remember, without input device, you cannot send anything to the computer. Without my food, my spoon, I cannot eat rice. Unless you want to use your hand, and then your hand is also called input device. So just don't mix it up that input is a way of sending, but input device is the tools that helps us to send. In a prescribed format means in a special way. The way you receive information is quite different from the way I receive my information. The way I speak is quite different from the way you speak. We are still going to get the same result. Process the data. If I ask you 20 plus 10, you have to think. If I ask primary 1, 20 plus 10, you still need to think. That thinking is called what? Processing. When you ask me 20 times 10, I will start thinking 20 times 10, 20 times 10. The process of me thinking is called processing. And when I say the answer 200, it becomes output. That's why I say you should mention the 3 keywords: input, processing, and output. Okay, let's proceed. Processing means converting, transforming, or manipulating data in order to get information. I repeat, processing means converting, transforming, changing, manipulating what? Data. Why? To generate information. Without this, you can't get this. Take note of that. Process the data with the help of manipulation software. Software are a written program designed by computer programmer for the functionality of the hardware. That means the software is a software inside the computer system that always translates, that always transform whatever you type in the computer for you to get your result. Now let's take for instance, don't forget that computer does not understand English. Computer does not understand Hausa. Computer does not understand Igbo. The only language computer understands is called binary language or machine language. Somebody asks you, what is machine language? Machine language is the actual language that computer understand. I don't know what binary is, 0 and 1. Thank God you know what the binary is, 0 and 1. Base 2 means binary. Computer does not understand. You are telling me that computer does not understand English. Okay. If I press A on the keyboard, I always see A on the screen of my monitor. But me, I know that A means English. And you're now telling me that computer does not understand English. That computer understands 0 and 1. Please explain. You will tell the person that when you press A, in the characteristic of computer is very fast. When you press A on the keyboard, there's some software inside the computer that always translates those things you type to machine language. Let's say for instance, I type A. A in computer means 1010 is 2. I'll explain this. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F to Z. And A is 10. From after 9 is 10. I now convert this 10 to binary. 2 in 10, 5 will have 0. 2 in 5, 2 will have 1. 2 into 1 will have 0. And 2 1 0 will have 1. Count down upward. You have 1 0 1 0 is 2. That's how I got my A. So when you press A on the keyboard, there's a software called compiler. A compiler is a software that translates word or program written in what? In high-level language to machine language. So when you press A on the keyboard, computer does not understand that A. The software will translate it to what? Its own understandable language. We human being, don't call yourself human being in computer. Call yourself human being. You are called human being or life way or people way. We don't understand this language because this is not our own language. So another software will translate this machine language back to human understandable language. Let me explain better so I can understand. I understand English. I understand Yoruba. I don't understand Igbo. But I have a friend that understands Igbo and English. So when I speak Bia, I will be looking. I don't understand Bia because that's not my language. I will go and meet my friend. I say, please, what is Bia? My friend will explain that Bia to my own language, which is Kan. And I say, okay, that's how computer works. Computer does not understand this A, but there's some software that always translates to its own language. Then another software will translate back to human language for you to see on the screen. Because we will not understand this 1010. If we press A, I will assume this. Okay? In order to generate desired results, why do we need to get results? We need to get results because we have input data and the software has been what? Converted into what? Information or output. Output is what you get from the computer. If you remember, I said you have two things you can send. It's either you send data or you send signal. When we talk about input, two forms of input are 1, data, and 2, signal. I've explained data. Thank God you know that they are all processed information. Signal is just a command you give to the computer. Like, click. Click. That is signal. You are telling it's just a computer what to do. That is signal. It's a command issued to alert the computer system. So definitely, we have two things you can send to the computer. It's either you send data or you send signal. But also, output is what we get from the computer. If we have two things we can send to the computer, definitely we also have two things we can get from the computer. The two things are, this is for input. The two things for output is 1, soft copy, and second one is hard copy. I've explained soft copy is the one you see on the screen of your monitor, while hard copy is the one printed on paper. I think I've explained this one in detail. If you still have any question, please you can still ask. Please take note of that I'm still going to ask 2 questions that can warrant gifts. Now move on to the main topic for today, which is called the principle of computing. The principle of computing, which is also short form for POC, is a course that studies and teaches about the computing principles, the do and don'ts of computer, the hardware and software compatibility, the computing language, the computing generation, the operation and control. Please, I will explain it in detail now. POC is a course, that is, POC is a subject. It's a subject that studies and teaches about the computing principle. This topic teaches us the principle, the rules guiding computer, the do and don't of computer. It means that what computer can do and those things computer cannot do. You know what computer can do? Computer can be used to design, can be used to calculate, can be used to type, can be used for presentation, can be used for building, etc. And what computer cannot do? I don't need to tell you what computer cannot do. Computer cannot walk on its own. Computer cannot sing on its own. You need it. Computer cannot walk on its own. The computing language, the language computer understands, I explain it here, which is called what? Binary language or machine language. The computing generation, the year computer was invented, we have 5th generation computer. Don't forget, we are currently on 4th generation, going to 5th generation. We have 1st generation of computer, 2nd generation of computer, 3rd generation of computer, 4th generation of computer, and 5th generation of computer. When we talk about the 1st generation of computer, the 1st generation of computer was introduced in the year 1940s to 1950s. It makes what we call vacuum tube. So this one makes what we call the vacuum tube. Then the 2nd generation of computer was introduced in the year 1950s to 1960s, and it makes what we call the transistors. The 3rd generation of computer was introduced in the year 1960s to 1970s. It makes what we call IC, which is integrated circuits. Okay, or you can call it microprocessor, processor. Then 4th generation was introduced in the year 1960s to 1970s. It makes a very large integrated circuit, and the 5th generation is introduced what in 1980s to date. It makes what we call robotic artificial intelligence, as AI. This was the year internet was introduced. Initially, they don't call it internet; they call it what we call ARPANET. Advanced Research Project Agency Networking. That's the form of ARPANET before they now change it to internet, which is international networking. Don't forget that internet is the interconnectivity between web pages and web pictures to connect World Wide Web. www. Let's proceed. Now, the operation, how computer operates, teaches us how computer operates and how to control. It also teaches us the hardware and software compatibility. This topic teaches us the hardware and software compatibility. Let me know you know what they call hardware. Hardware are those physical components of computer that you can see, feel, and touch. Anything you can see in the computer, anything you can feel in the computer, anything you can touch in the computer is called hardware. It must be connected to the computer. That is configuration hardware. So we have configuration hardware and non-configuration hardware. Configuration hardware are those hardware that are connected to the computer, while non-configuration hardware are those hardware that are not connected to the computer. E.g., your system unit is a configuration hardware because the mouse are connected to it, the keyboard are connected to it, the monitor are connected to it. So it's called configuration hardware. While non-configuration hardware are those hardware that are not connected to the computer. We need it, but they are not connected to the computer, like your fan, your air conditioner, your table, your chair, your clock, etc. These are what hardware that I can touch, but they are not connected to the computer system. Remember that when we talk about the hardware and software, hardware are things you can see, explain, feel, and touch in computer. Software are written programs inside the computer that propel or that makes the hardware to function. Remember, If hardware is good and software is not good, hardware cannot work. What I mean is that the best of hardware can never work without the best of software, and the best of software can never work without the best of hardware. Let me tell you, by watching film, you have DVD, you have television, you have remote, now you can touch it, they are called hardware. And I have bought a disc, a compact disc, CD is called compact disc. There's a film I want to watch inside. They program it, there's a set of instructions inside the CD. The CD is still hardware because I can touch it, and I slot it in. But the CD is not good. What the content inside is, maybe it is corrupted, and I put it in, it will not display because the hardware will not perform its function, because what I want to watch is not good. If the CD is good, the content is, but the DVD is not working, it can't work. And if the television is good and the CD is good, if the human we are not in good condition, you cannot watch film. Or can you watch film when DVD is not DVD is good and CD is good and you are having stomach ache? Will you watch film? You have to treat yourself. So what I'm trying to say is that hardware must be in good condition, software must be in good condition, humanware must be in good condition so that it can perform the main function. Computer cannot work on its own, so we need the intervention of humanware. So for them to perform the same function, we have to be in good condition. Software are written program designed by computer programmer to make this hardware to function. We have two types of software. We have the system software and the application software. In the hardware, we have input. I've explained input. I've explained input devices like your mouse, your keyboard, your joystick, your light pen, your scanner, your camera, digital camera, your webcam, your microphone, L222. They are input devices because they send something to the computer. While your speaker, your monitor or video, your printer, your chart plotter, your magnetic tape, your projector, they are outputs because they generate results from the computer system. Please don't stop. I've listed the examples of input units or input devices like mouse, keyboard, joystick, light pen, scanner, digital camera, optical writer, barcode reader, webcam, and microphone, etc. These are input devices. Output devices are printer, monitor or video, speaker, chart plotter, magnetic tape, projector, etc. So my two assignments for today is here. The first question is, if you can answer this question correctly, definitely when I see your question answer and I know that you really get the answer, I will send you something in your inbox as a token of appreciation. Computer is an intellectual neuron, critically juxtaposed. That's the first question. I've given the answer based on my explanation. So you have to, if you are not getting the answer, you can listen to my lecture again so that you can get the answer to this question. The two questions, there's answer from my explanation. So take time to listen to it very well. Computer is an intellectual neuron, critically juxtaposed. I don't want to talk more on it because it requires a gift. So think very well. Second question is, computer is interconnected, interrelated, and extremely interwoven or intertwined. Explain. So that's my two questions for today. I hope you like my video. Please comment. And for those who really appreciate me, thank you so much. I'm going to drop more videos on my lecture. Thank you guys. I love you all. Thank you.